So there's many aspects to Netflix in terms of a network setting, one of which is the video streaming system. And we'll look at the internet a little more in a future lecture and the technical aspect of that. But right now we're going to focus more on the social networking aspect, and we're going to focus specifically on how they recommend movies for you to watch, so how those recommendation schemes work. And so recommendation is really kind of a cool thing because it's like we're mind reading, right? We're reading your mind to predict what movies we think you would like, depending upon what you have rated and so on, and the similarities between what you've rated and the movies that you haven't watched. And then we make a prediction. We say we think you'd also like this movie. And so when you go onto Netflix site and you're browsing through movies, for each one you kind of have three different options, right? You can either rate it. Right here we're showing the idea you can give it a certain star rating if you want. You can add it to a queue if you actually want to watch it. So if you wanted to watch this movie, for instance, you could say, all right, put it in this queue, whatever. There's different queues that you can have to watch. Or you can say you're not interested, right? If you click this not interested button, that's also very useful feedback to Netflix. And they'll say, don't recommend this movie to me. And they might also say, okay, well, those types of movies you don't want to see, for instance. And so each of these things that you do, whether it's rating, adding to the queue, or saying you're not interested, all impact the movies that are going to be recommended to you. And so you're encouraged, again, the more input that you give, the better the recommendation method will be for you specifically. And so this is the idea of recommending in Netflix, where we're recommending movies for you to watch. Before we move on to talk just about Netflix's recommendation, let's bring up a few other applications where we see recommendation on the internet. There's obviously everywhere this is happening, but just a few notorious examples. First is YouTube. On YouTube, YouTube has a bar where they recommend videos that they think you should watch. And the way that they do that is interesting. They leverage what's called the co-visitation count, which basically says, I'm going to recommend to you some movies that have also been watched by other users. And that have also watched the same movie that you've watched, right? So if you watch a couple movies, then other people, they look at the other people who also watched that movie, and they look at the movies that the other people have watched in the past 24 hours or so, and they say, okay, you'll probably like these movies too. In Amazon, they recommend products to you. So they'll say, they'll look at the list of products you've bought, similar items thereof. They'll look at people who have bought the same product as you and the other products that they've bought, and they'll try to recommend things for you to buy. And on Pandora, they recommend songs. So they actually have a bunch of experts that deal with those recommendations. And you also have a binary up and down, or thumbs up or thumbs down voting on Pandora, which indicates which songs get recommended to you and not, and that influences that strongly. And so, for instance, on Amazon, this is just to show this recommended to you right here. It's right now recommending a book for me, which is on networking, front-end engineering, and for building websites, which is pretty similar to this course. And then on YouTube, this is just showing types of videos that they recommend to you based upon what you've watched. And now you can see my musical taste. And if you can go onto YouTube, you might be able to see that they tend to do a pretty good job of recommending videos that you might want to watch. That's how people tend to get hooked on YouTube. In the optional reading, again, for this course, we do have a whole other chapter on YouTube as well that we talk about some of the other aspects of YouTube, like spreading of information.